Hi. You know, I get asked pretty often and more often these days, primarily from large organizations who have done a lot to create an open and welcoming and inclusive environment for people in the LGBTQ community. Why is it that we have done so much and we still don't have people who feel comfortable being out at work? And before we dismiss that as, well, everybody is probably out at this point, bear in mind that 37%, this is as of 2021, 37% of people in organizations have said they are not comfortable being out in their organization. And I think one of the reasons has nothing to do with ERGs or initiatives to create a diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging framework or culture. I think it has everything to do with what I call in my book coming out, this notion of the pink camouflage. And effectively what the pink camouflage is this idea that as you grow up and you're a part of the LGBTQ community, you can hide who you are. May not be a great answer, but you can do it. But let's compare that to people who are people of color, women, anyone who is a visible minority. Growing up, you know it's a woman, you know it's a Black person, and so on. And so even if you are the worst racist in the world or the biggest misogynist, you're less likely to say something that's horrifically insulting if you know that it is going to be insulting to that person. Yeah, we've got people out there who do it, but it's far less likely to happen if you are aware of that person's minority status. Likewise, if you are a misogynist father, you're not going to make horribly misogynistic comments in front of your daughter. You're not going to make nasty slurs. You're not going to talk about women in a degrading way. If you are a Black father and you have Black children, you're obviously not going to be talking about your children in a racist way. But let's flip that a little bit. If you are parents of a child who grows up and is gay, but as a child, they hear you talking about how wrong it is to be gay. It's a sin. Don't understand it. How can anyone be a fag? Same thing with lesbians, anybody in the LGBTQ community. We grow up hearing those messages and we learn over and over and over again that it is wrong to be who we are. And we can camouflage that as long as it works for us, primarily as a survival technique. If we know nobody likes that, and maybe we can even get beaten up for it as children or even as young adults. If there is danger in coming out and being who we are, we hide it, we stay in the closet as long as it suits our needs. And so you learn what people think at an early age about people like you, and it's often not great. And so you internalize it. I did that in my own life growing up as a Southern Baptist in Southeast Texas. We learn what we need to do to survive so that we minimize the abuse, physically, verbal, whatever it is against us that would happen, or we're pretty sure would happen if people knew who we really were. And so we hide it. And we push it down and we push it down because we know exactly what people think. We've heard them say it. We've heard them talk about it time and time again in a way they would never talk about a woman or a person of color. And so fast forward, we're in the work environment. 40-year-old man, woman, they're bringing their child version of themselves to work as much as they're bringing their adult version of themselves. All of that pain from childhood doesn't go away. And you learn not to trust. You learn that you're not sure what person X thinks about people like you. And you have enough experience to know that there are plenty of people out there who aren't crazy about people like you. So you think it is better for me to just keep it quiet and not tell anybody who I am so that I don't have to risk getting fired, maybe being discriminated against, not getting job opportunities that other people have who are straight. And so it continues. And so all of this to say, as long as you got the cover of the pink camouflage, you can continue hiding who you are, even if you're in the most welcoming LGBTQ professional environment out there. And that's why I think we still have 37% of people who aren't comfortable being themselves at work. And all organizations can do, I believe, at this point is continue to create those open and welcoming environments and hope that one day that person trusts enough to allow themselves to be bringing their entire selves to work. Until we reach that moment, we're simply going to be faced with this ongoing challenge, and frankly, a very sad challenge of knowing that over a third of people in the LGBTQ community don't feel like they can bring their authentic selves to work.